Hey guys, this is Just One Guy, and I'm back with another update on Project Hermes. Now, in this update, what I was working on was jumping, and I think I got something pretty cool here. The problem with jumping in Unity is the way they do it, using force and physics, you can never get a predictable jump. But with this right here, I've created a system where you can always get a predictable jump, no matter what. So, the reason you would want a predictable jump is for something like platforming. As you can see here, if I just go over here and jump, if you wanted to do something like a platform game, you wanted to make sure the jump is always predictable so the player can predict where they're going to jump. And the problem is most jump systems in Unity, while it does jump the character, the jump is never predictable. And here I've created a system that will always jump the same distance and the same height at the same speed each time. And not only that, I can go into the character and change any of the variables here. And you can see it will even debug the arc of the jump. So you'll know exactly where the character is always going to jump when you're making the game. Just put this down here, or over here to the side. So you can see if I zoom out. And I have the data over here. You can see he's going to jump 1.5 meters high and 1.5 meters forward. And he'll always do that amount of distance no matter what. So when you're setting up the platforms, you can set them up at an exact distance, and you'll always know the player will be able to jump it exactly that distance and exactly that height. And you can see I can even change it. If I wanted him to jump higher, now he's going to jump 2 meters. And you can see. And the arc is going to tell you exactly where he's going to land and how high he's going to go. If I wanted to make the jump further, say something ridiculous like 10. Just turn the character around so we can see it. And you can see that the arc is still more or less accurate. It's a little bit off because the character is sliding because of gravity when he lands, just because of how ridiculous we made that jump. If you wanted it to be super exact, you wouldn't put gravity there. But as you can see, it is accurate. He's just sliding at the end. If I had something less ridiculous, like a 10 height, it would be more accurate. See? But as you can see, it's a super accurate system, and it always gives you an exact predictable jump. And it will even debug the jump arc so you could know where the character is going to land beforehand. But normally I would set it to something more reasonable, like 2 meters and 2 distance. You can also control the hang time, and it won't mess up the calculation. He'll hang in the air for 3 seconds and then fall. And you can also control the jump speed. Change that to 5. And it's more or less accurate. Now the jump speed, it does mess up the calculation a little bit, but the rest of it is pretty accurate. So now I'm just going to go into Visual Studios and show you exactly how I did it. Okay, now we're in Visual Studios, and it's pretty easy to do all this. All I need is these 3 functions right here: jump ascend, jump descend, and draw a jump arc of the player. Now, all the math involved with this, I couldn't explain it to you because I don't know how to do it. I'm not that good at math. I use ChatGPT to calculate all the math, but I do understand how these functions work, because while ChatGPT can give you the answer, the mathematical answer to this stuff, you have to actually know what you're doing to put it in. Now what it does is it uses the translate function to move the character up, and then uses the translate function to move the character down. And when it's doing a downward jump arc, what it does is it adds gravity to the rigid body right here, and adds that the speed of the vector, downward vector, to the velocity of the rigid body. And this is so you can get a natural fall off. If this wasn't right here, your character would just stop in midair, even if you had gravity turned on, because you wouldn't be able to get a smooth jump, because the rigid body wouldn't know how much speed to add to the downward force. So all it does is it moves the character by translate. That's important because if you move the character by force, it wouldn't be as exact, and that was the problem I was having before. Most functions that use, most jump functions that use in Unity, they use force, and the problem with force is it's kind of hard to calculate an exact force. I don't think most games use forces or the physics to jump. I think most games do it the way I do it, just because you can have an exact jump. But that's why I use the translate function instead of forces. Now when you're drawing the arc, I don't exactly know how this math works, but it just takes in the height, the jump height, the jump speed, the jump duration, and it calculates how high you want the character to go and how far you want the character to go, and then it feeds it into this endpoint right here, and it uses a line renderer to draw that arc. And that's basically it. I just thought that was cool because this took me a long time to come up with, and it was the perfect jump solution for me. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. And if you want to download this code, I'll put a link in the description down below.